Okay, it looks like we are live, and I don't know if anybody's going to pop in or not. I don't see anybody in here. I just kind of on the spur of the moment decided to go live because I'm going to actually do a live broadcast here tomorrow, and just want to make sure I had everything set up again to do that broadcast tomorrow. We're going to talk a little bit about watches tomorrow, but mainly Kent Courtney is going to come and do some entertaining. He's a music historian. He's going to do some entertaining here on the channel. And we might talk about watches and some other things too. So I'll see if anybody's going to pop in here. We got 2 folks watching. See if you can pop a little something in the comments as to how everything sounds. And we got somebody from New Zealand. There we go. And I'm a little bit late for the folks in the UK. They probably turned in already. I usually start about 5 o'clock to try to get them at a halfway decent hour. But I'm a little bit late. I had a little errand to do this afternoon. I had an event I covered last night, and so I was a little bit behind schedule on things. So what we're going to talk about is one of my favorite trolls put another comment in chastising me and saying I had no idea what I was talking about and so on and so forth. And one of the comments that he made was with regard to my comment about you could get a level a touch high. Okay, so I won't eat the mic quite as much. Well, actually, maybe I'll crank it down a little bit. Let me see if I can do that. Okay, so I'm going to crank it down just a hair. Okay, so Dave, let me know what that sounds like if I just talk about this distance, and I did crank the level down just a hair. Really should monitor my audio, but I'm a little bit lazy. So let me know if that adjustment, that is better. Okay, good. All right, so here's the deal. I made a comment in my last show, and let's do a quick time check while we're here. And then there's some reflections on the watches. I mean, it is what it is. I don't have them in a light box, and I've got lights all around here. So that is what it is. But so I made a comment in my last show that, there we go. I made a comment in the last show that it was my opinion that you could get a better deal on a high-end watch, a high-dollar watch. And when I say a high-dollar watch, I mean anything $5,000 and up. To me, that's high dollar. And it's worth trying to get a deal. And so I made a comment that I thought you could get a better deal if you paid cash. And he's like, oh, that's totally ridiculous. Nobody cares if you pay cash or not anymore. This is 2018. You know, what are you in the Stone Ages? You know, all this stuff, right? Typical troll, idiot, you know, and if you read his whole comment, it's about, the whole thing is about at that level of intellect. So anyway, here's the deal. I've purchased high dollar items as recently as 5 months ago with cash. And it had a significant effect. I mean, sellers love it when you have $100 bills. Let me try to get this watch down just a little bit here without knocking everything all over the place. Okay, so sellers love it. And we'll switch back to me so you can see me a little bit. Okay. When you start peeling $100 bills off, I mean, first of all, if it's a jeweler, and you are trying to get a deal, the first thing is he wants to know if you're serious. He wants to know if you're for real. And cash money is pretty serious business, okay? So that's number one. He wants to know that you're for real. I got money while paying cash for my new Seamaster Diver 300M in Wellington. Well, there you go. And the other thing is, if you use a credit card, he pays a couple of percent. Depending on the credit card and depending on the arrangements he has, he eats some money on that. And here's the other thing that's even more important is Credit cards can have chargebacks. Cash, it's up to him as to whether or not he wants to give you your cash back if you renege on the deal, right? Because he's got the cash. So, and here's the other thing. And to me, this is pretty obvious, but to some of the trolls out there, obviously it's not obvious, so I figured I'd spell it out to them. Some of these trolls are a little bit slow. Okay, I love my trolls. I love each and every one of my trolls. Some of them aren't real bright. They're a little bit slow. And so here's the deal. Every time you spend money, every time you spend cash money, and Dave Ramsey talks about this in some of his videos. If you don't know Dave Ramsey, you should Google it, and he's really a smart guy when it comes to money. If we all followed his advice as far as money goes, we'd all be multimillionaires by retirement age. So there's that. But anyway, when you go to spend money, cash, $100 bills or $20 bills, doesn't make any difference. There's pain centers in the brain activate and tell you you're doing something wrong. You're getting rid of hard-earned cash, right? You're handing over cash money to somebody. That is actually painful in the brain. The brain looks at it as something that's, hey, we don't like this. And if you pay with a credit card, not so much, because it's almost like it's just, okay, I'm just handing them a piece of plastic. It's no big deal, right? And there is a big difference. There were studies that were done, and Dave quotes these studies. I have no reason to believe they're not true. These vending machine companies, when they started taking credit cards, and McDonald's did the same thing, when they started taking credit cards, they noticed that the average sale skyrocketed. I mean, like doubled and tripled in the amount of money people spend on each transaction. Because remember, you used to take the $1 bill or whatever and put it in the machine, and it would spit it back out because it didn't recognize it, and you'd try a couple times, you'd straighten it out, you'd spit it back, put it back in, and finally it would take your dollar bill, and then you'd buy like a bag of chips or whatever. Well, do not sell the Snowflake. That's the best looking watch from GS. I've got it on eBay, and it may not sell. You know how eBay is. I think I've got it at $47.50 starting bid, and I won't go any lower than that. If it got some bids and it got up to $5,000, I'd be happy, and of course I'd take. I mean, if somebody put in the $47.50 and no more bids, I'd have to take it, right? But I'd be happy if I got $5,000 or over for it. And my thought process is, I really like this diver. I mean, I really prefer it because of my eyes, because of my vision, not for any other reason. If I had 30 or younger eyes, I would probably just keep the Snowflake and not have the diver. But this one, I've said before, I can take these reading glasses off, I can look at this watch, and I can quickly, easily read it. No problem. No problem whatsoever. Not so much with the Snowflake unless there's a lot of light. If there's plenty of light, like if I'm outside or something, yes, I can read it without my reading glasses. But if the light gets a little bit low, like here, I've got plenty of light, I could probably read it. But if the light gets kind of a little bit low, a little bit on the low side, not dark, but just a little on the low side, forget about it. I can't tell what time it is without my reading glasses. And I don't always wear my reading glasses. That's the problem. That's the rub. That's why the diver. How dare you sell Snowflake? That is the GS. I'll tell you though, this diver is nothing to sneeze at. It is super comfortable. This titanium diver, it is super comfortable on wrist. I mean, it's a beast, and I can adjust the bracelet very easily. That's the other thing I don't like about the Snowflake. Two things: the reading it with my glasses off. And the second thing is there are no micro adjustments. So once a year, when the weather changes, and you know how in the winter, I don't know where you all live, but when it gets cold, your bracelet all of a sudden is loose, right? And so I got to take a link out. I got to take one of the small links out. And then I got to do it again in the spring when it warms up again. So twice a year, I've got to switch out the links in the bracelet because there's no micro adjustment. And I'm lazy, and that kind of irritates me. Even though I know how to do it, I've got the tools, I know how to do it. It's not that hard. The pins and collars, I know how to work with them. With this one, I've got the micro adjustments on it. So I can just do a quick micro adjustment, and then I've got the adjustment, temporary adjustment, where you can extend it out, the diver's extension, where you can extend it out a millimeter at a time on the fly. Like if you get out and it's hot and humid and it gets a little snug on your wrist, just kind of extend it out real quick. So that's a big plus for this watch too. So there's two pluses, the reading and the extending. Okay, so let me look in the comments here. I wear my Seiko SSC 0017 diver at night for the same reason. Yeah, exactly. I wear this all night, yeah. Snowflake is legendary, Craig. Let's get with the program. The diver is awesome, no doubt. However, the snowflake is a work of art. It is. But my watches are more for function than art. We'll get into that discussion, too, here in a little while. Diver is cool, too. The diver has a $1 bracelet off a $1,000 Seiko. No, the diver bracelet is fantastic. And I've gotten to where I love this clasp. The clasp is what's off like a Marine Master, but I love it. It's very functional. It's quick and easy to use. I much prefer this over the much touted Rolex Glide Lock system. I much prefer this from a functionality, everyday use standpoint. And again, I'm all about everyday use. No, the clasp is fantastic. You're wrong. Why did Seiko go with pins over screws in their bracelets? Only some of the bracelets. And it's actually a better solution. It's kind of a pain when you have to take a link out. It is a little trickier. It's not that difficult. But it's actually a better solution, and I'll explain why. What happens is the pins, in effect, can float. They can rotate completely around. They're completely independent of the links. Whereas if you have a screw that goes and then screws into one of the links at the end, usually, it's fixed. Okay, that screw can't move. So when the bracelet moves on that pin, there's more wear and tear. Whereas if that pin is floating, which is the way the pins and collars work, it can float with it. It can turn. So there's less wear and tear. And then on both the links and the pin itself. But we don't really care if the pin wears out because it's easy to replace. Whereas the screws, that's a little more involved because that has to be exactly the screw and all that. I mean, that's a little more involved if they have an issue. So really, from a standpoint of because that pin and collar can float, it makes the bracelet more comfortable. It makes it easier to articulate and move on your wrist and so on. So it's one of the reasons why these are so comfortable. So there are actually some advantages to the pin, and they call it pipes, but pins and collars. Just got here. What is the Rolex cash deal? He wants to buy one. Seems as always it's GS related. Okay, so here's the deal. What we started talking about, and we got sidetracked, is the concept of getting a better deal if you pay cash. And let's see. So the bracelet is more fluid with the pins. Yes, because the pins can rotate on their axis. They're not fixed into a pin. They're not screwed in and locked in place. They literally float. Because the way it works is the pin is pressed into the collar. When you press it into the bracelet, the collar is on one end, and this is an oversimplified explanation. Really, it's in the middle of the bracelet on this bracelet. But in any event, the pin is pushed into that collar, and the collar is not tight in the bracelet. It's just floating in there. But the pin goes into it and is pressed into the collar. Now, it's tight in the collar, so it can't come out. It's literally pressed into it. But it floats. It freely floats inside the bracelet. Yet, it doesn't rattle. See, I'm moving it all around near this mic. It doesn't rattle. It's just so well made. They're no joke. Patek Philippe, they use pins and collars in some of their stuff too. So it's not a necessarily something for cheap watches. Now the pins that are pressed in from one side and then press into the bracelet link on the other side, the friction pins, I guess they call them, those are junk. Those you should not want, because those, once they lose that friction, they can back out, and you can have all kinds of problems with those. That is not a good solution. Pins and collars, or pins and pipes, as Seiko calls it, is a different ball game. So like everything else, you need to really research this stuff to see what the hell's going on with all of it. So the bracelet more fluid, and I'm going to get back to the cash thing, trust me, but I have to pay attention to the chat. I went with a midnight blue dial GS for the same reason, visibility for my farsighted eyes. There you go. Would you purchase high beat Grand Seiko? Probably not at this point. I really like the spring drive, and I also am getting to like the 9F quartz, believe it or not. I thought I'd never be that way, but the 9F is just freaking amazing. And they're thinner. The watches are thinner. Okay, the better deal is getting GS for cash and getting something useful instead, like Bitcoin or stocks. In other words, get a GS and Bitcoin and stocks instead of the Rolex? Yeah, heck yeah. Besides, you need to pay cash to bribe the AD to sell you the Rolex. Yeah. Okay, so here, let's get back to the cash deal thing. And the way this all came up is I had a troll, and again, I love all my trolls, even the ones that are overweight in their mom's basement and have a bunch of issues. They've gotten diabetes because they eat too many potato chips. I still love them, okay? I love my trolls. They're not real bright, a lot of them, and you can look at the comments they put to see what the deal is on all that. But in any event, I had a troll make a comment that it was ridiculous for me to say that you can get a better deal paying cash for an expensive watch. He said, this is 2018. This isn't the Stone Ages. We don't deal in cash, okay? And I'm like, what is this guy thinking? When you pay cash for something, the party that is selling that item absolutely, positively, no doubt knows you're serious. And that's what a seller wants to know more than anything else, is that buyer is serious. If you make a lowball offer and you're just talking, I'll pay such and such for, that's just talk. Like they say, BS walks, right? Cash talks. You throw cash on the table. Let's say he's asking $4,000 for the watch. You throw $2,500 cash on the table, cash money. He's going to look twice before he tells you to go screw yourself. He may still tell you to go screw yourself, but he's going to look twice at that cash. He might even grab it. So you might get a hell of a deal paying cash. Let me know in the chat. Put a C in the chat if you think cash is king and that you might get a better deal with cash. And if you think I'm full of BS, put BS in the chat. Just put BS if that's total, unmitigated BS, and put C if you think it's true. Okay, so let me read the rest of this. Okay. Craig, do you like the spring drives with the silver dials and the stainless steel case? Well, there's the entry-level spring drive that has sort of like a silvery dial, I think is a nice watch and a real bargain. And one of my subscribers got a real deal on one, and he's going to be doing a video fairly soon. Eric's educational channel, whatever he calls it. He got a heck of a deal on one of those. Yeah, we're getting a lot of C's in here. Bitcoin is still better. Yeah, Bitcoin rules. Absolutely, Bitcoin. I'll take Bitcoin any day. Because it can't be counterfeited. Once you've got it in your account, once it's confirmed by 6 or more confirmations and you've got it in your account, it's a done deal. Whereas cash, that could turn out to be fake. A lot of scammers out there. 70% cash, 30% BS. No, it's either one or the other, folks. It's either cash rules or it doesn't. C for cash, Rolex for posers. Cash will always be king. I got a car for $5,000 below Kelly Blue Book when I showed the seller cash. Hell yeah. I mean, there's something, there's receptors in their brain that like release like morphine and stuff, and they get a high when they see that freaking cash. I mean, oh my God, are you kidding me? By the way, the proportions on the new Datejust 41 is male wrist perfection. I saw one. I shot a video clip of it. It was pretty big looking. I'll tell you. That's another thing that one of my trolls put. Craig, how do you do? God bless you, gentlemen. Hey, God bless all of you. Craig, what do you think of the ivory dial GMT SBGM 221? I picked one up from Tim for $34.50. Wow. If it's the one I'm thinking of, I think it's a sweet watch. Let me just confirm that it's the one I'm thinking of. Give me a second here. Confirm this puppy. Because if it's the one I'm thinking of, that is sweet. Yeah, that is sweet. Here's one. Bonanza has one for $3,400. Let me pull it up here. And we'll show everybody what we're talking about. Let's cut to there it is. There's the puppy. That's a nice looking piece. So there you go. Absolutely. What is the chat about? We're talking about whatever people are putting in the chat. And then we were also talking about, can you get good deals with paying cash for high dollar watches? Cash is a fake by scammers. The governments are the biggest scammers. Well, whatever all that means. Yes, please, Mr. Craig. Can you please reframe what is the topic of our meeting today? Sorry to be late. It just is way smaller and slimmer. It didn't look smaller to me. I think it is a little bit slimmer, not much. And the bracelet is a little bit bulkier. Have you ever been a little bored with watches? I don't think about watches that much, tell you the truth, believe it or not. Snowflake wears more like a 42, by the way. I don't know about that. Mine doesn't seem to wear that big. I would like it to be a little bit thinner. I think it's 12.5 millimeters thick. I'd like it to be 12 or even 11 would be great too. I mean, yeah, I like thin watches, absolutely. But it doesn't seem to me like it wears that big at all. I don't even think this does. This is 14 millimeters. I'm trying to give you the height shot there, how it sits on the wrist. I think it sits on the wrist fine. I wouldn't want to go to some of these watches that are like 17 millimeter tall and stuff, like the Deep Sea. I don't know how tall that sucker is, but that thing is ridiculous. I saw one on a guy's wrist the other day. I've got a video clip of it. He's got a tiny wrist to start with, and man, did that thing look like a monster. I wouldn't wear that watch for 5 minutes. And then some troll put a comment in about a guy that wears a 50 millimeter Invicta. And he says he's got some tape on the clasp where some of the gold is flaking off. He had to put some tape on it to hold it together. That was funny. I'm beginning to feel a little bored. Maybe I need a break. Okay, let's see the rest of this. In my opinion, the good deal on a watch is not about how you pay for it. It's about the seller, not the buyer. It all depends on what circumstances. I hear you, but I'm telling you, you put cash in front of most sellers, and they're going to think twice about turning you away and sending you home with that cash. They want it in their pocket, not your pocket. That's been my experience. I've gotten some deals. Argo and Seiko piece is so thick. The spring drive, I think, has its limitations as far as how thin they can make it. And plus, I don't think they care that much. One thing about the Grand Seiko people is they're kind of clueless when it comes to marketing and when it comes to responding to things like that. A lot of their watches are a little bit on the bulky side. I'll be the first one to admit that. And like I say, this diver is right at the cusp. If it was any thicker than it is, I probably would have passed on it. But for me, this is fine. I think it looks fine on my wrist. I like it. It's extremely comfortable because of the titanium. So it's 44 millimeter, but you tell me. I think it looks okay. I wouldn't want it any bigger, though. And the 9F quartz movement watches, some of them are really nice. They're thin, and some of them are smaller, like 38 millimeter, stuff like that. And, of course, my gold one here, it's only 35 millimeter. It's a midget. But I like it, too. I think it looks great on wrist. If you got a suit, if you're wearing a shirt cuff, got that puppy like halfway under your shirt cuff, have a little bit of that 18-karat gold sticking out, that looks pretty damn good, if you ask me. Okay. I like Pedro. Datejust 4100. I'll tell you what, I would still buy a 36 mil Datejust. I guess I'm old-fashioned, but I still like the 36 mil. And I of course, like the 36 mil date 8. Cash gives the seller immediate satisfaction. Also, maybe it gives them an opportunity to stick it in the pocket and not pay taxes. Absolutely. Am I in the troll class, Jeff? I don't know. I don't think so, but I love my trolls equally with just like everybody else. I love my trolls. I mean, they've got issues. I mean, they got big problems, but I like them. You said sometimes roll up your sleeve. Yeah, my sleeves are rolled up right now. Wearing a collared polo shirt under the sport coat. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely I would do that. This coat, by the way, I was just showing you that my sleeves are rolled up, but we were still on the watches. Yeah, see, my sleeves are rolled up right now. This coat, by the way, is a Burberry. Bought at Raleigh's men's store in Washington, D.C., which has been out of business for like 30 years. So that tells you how long I've had this coat. Oh, boy. And Burberry, they made some really good stuff back in the day. They don't as much anymore. This was made in England, this is cashmere. Their stuff nowadays is a little bit marginal. I don't even know if they make the all-cotton trench coat anymore with the camel hair liner. I've got one of those with the liner that goes all the way down the sleeve. It's all camel hair, and you can take that off and use it like a robe when you're traveling. You just take it out of the coat and use it like a robe. That was a really nice trench coat. I remember back in the late 70s, believe it or not. Like, let's go to this 1978. One of those lined Burberry trench coats, all cotton with the camel hair liner. They were $1,300 in 1978. Okay? That was more money than, any steel Rolex. They were big freaking money, but they were a well-made coat. I have one that I literally bought back then, and I still wear it. The tag they stitch in there is a Burberry, not the coat. Yeah, this coat was made in England. Okay, 36 millimeter Datejust is timeless. Absolutely. Best coats money can buy if you can buy. Maybe they still make some good stuff, but I wasn't impressed the last time I was in their store, tell you the truth. And the last time I bought anything was, like I say, the late 70s, early 80s, and when we used to shop up in New York. We used to go to the Burberry store whenever we'd go up to the Rolex building to drop off a watch for servicing or something like that. We would always stop in the Burberry store. And by the way, if you ever see one of those, it's 100% cotton, fully lined, the camel hair lining. If you see one of those puppies used at a thrift store or something in good shape, buy the sucker. They're not easy to find though. There's not. I don't even think they sell them anymore. Okay, is it true that Datejust loses value more than a sport still in the long run? Again, if you have to worry about your watch losing value, I would recommend you do not buy it. I would say it's not a good thing to do, is to worry about that. Oh, another thing, there's been 2 videos released recently. The guy in the UK and another one. If you just do a search on YouTube, you know how you can search like the last 24 hours when you do like just search like Rolex, and then you can filter the last 24 hours? You'll find them both. There's 2 videos where they talk about the Rolex bubble and or value of Rolexes. And the two videos contradict each other, kind of. One of them, they're kind of almost coming out and saying, if not coming out and saying, that there are signs that the bubble is already starting to pop, that some of the values are already going down, and that speculators that are buying steel Rolexes right now, even for list price, those that are able to get them for list price, are going to get burned, that they're going to get stuck. And then the other guy, a guy from the UK, I guess he's from the UK, but anyway, he was basically saying the opposite, that no, that the prices are going to keep going up, and that there's so much demand, and that they've been going up for years. He showed a graph and all this, and basically like there's no end in sight type of thing, more or less. And so I think, so Tom saw the vids, I think that what's happening is there are a bunch of people that are buying multiple watches and putting them in the safety deposit box and thinking that they're just going to keep going up like crazy, or that they're going to hold their current value like forever or something like that. Okay, some combination of that type of thinking. And I think the reason that the bottom's going to fall out, and this is my prediction, and we'll see, it might take a year or two for this to happen. I think the reason that the bottom is going to fall out is that these people that are buying multiple watches, like 3, 4, 5, 6 watches, whatever they're buying, right? They don't really want all those watches. They don't really want to use all those watches. They're buying them because they think that they're going to go up in value and that they're a good investment, if you will. And when they finally realize that it's not the case, and a lot of those people start selling, that's when the market's going to get flooded with these sport watches that are super hot right now, and the value is going to freaking plummet. And I predict that you're going to be able to buy them for half of list price. So if the watch was a list price of $8,000, you're going to be able to buy it for like $4,000. I don't care if it's a Batman. I don't care if it's a Pepsi. I don't care what in the hell it is. Even a Daytona, you're going to be able to buy them cheap too, because there are people that are piling up Daytonas. Don't think they're not. They're piling up 3, 4, 5 Daytonas in their collection, right? Their investment. And when they all start panicking and start selling because they put all this stuff on their credit cards and stuff, and they don't have any money, the market is going to crash like you've never seen. I love my two-tone 36 millimeter Date 8. Well, it wouldn't be a two-tone Date 8. Well, I guess if it's one of those rare ones, yeah. What did they call them? Rolesaur or whatever? Okay, I got you. But it wouldn't be steel and gold. It would be all gold or all platinum. There's an end in sight for Rolex. Will people buy steel Rolex for $50K? I think we've already hit the top. I think we've already hit the top. I don't think they're going any higher. than what they are now. I think they're going to start leveling off and then slowly going down. And then when people start realizing that the end is near and that, same thing happened with this last peak in Bitcoin where it went up, it shot up. Everybody and their uncle was piling in, speculating, short-term investors wanting to make a killing. Does this sound familiar? They're all jumping in. And then when they realize that, it's not going to keep going up, it's hit a plateau like at around 20,000, it like just stopped, it wasn't going up anymore. Then they start panicking because they took mortgages on their house to buy it and stuff like this. They put it on their credit cards, and they all start selling. Those of us that are long-term holders that have been holding, I wasn't panicking. I didn't give a shit, right? I did sell some in November just because it just got so ridiculously high. I sold some. But the rest of it, I'm just holding long-term. I don't give a what. I'm just holding. But these other people all panicked. And so this is what's going to happen. It's the exact same thing with these steel watches, because after all, it's just a steel watch, and it's just a mass-produced steel watch. It's not even that special, okay? It's a Rolex, yes. It's a high-quality, good freaking watch, but it's steel, all right? It ain't freaking 18-karat gold. Let's go to a watch check. It is not 18-karat gold. It's not even titanium, for gosh sakes. High-grade, titanium. That's kind of hard to work with and expensive. It's just freaking stainless steel. And stainless steel is not a good material for a high-dollar watch. I've said that once. I'll say it 100 times. It is a good material for an affordable tool watch, not for a high-dollar luxury freaking watch. All right? And all these people that are buying these steel Rolexes and think they've got a luxury watch, no. You do not. You have a tool watch. That's a good watch, but you shouldn't pay $10,000 for it. Unless you're speculating or flipping watches, I'm not paying over $10K for a steel sports Rolex. I agree. I wouldn't. Okay. And I mean, the reason we're talking about this topic, I get these other trolls that say, how come you always talk about Rolex? Everybody's talking about it. I just mentioned 2 other channels that did videos on it. It's the subject of the hour, right? This bubble and what's going on, and it is of interest. So we're talking about what's of interest here. That's all we're doing, and trying to shed some light on all of this stuff. I would pay 10 grand US for a Daytona, I wouldn't want either one of those watches. I wouldn't want a Daytona or a Sky Dweller. If $10,000, I'd buy a gold Date 8. You can buy them for that. But the Bitcoin thing is someone mining for you. No, it's very difficult to mine at this point. Mining years ago was easy, but no, not anymore. That's a difficult game, and not for the faint at heart. The time to have mined was 7 or 8 years ago, 10 years ago. Nothing against Panerai as long as it suits your wrist. They're not for every wrist. Yeah, I wouldn't buy a Panerai, not on a bet. I think it's an ugly watch. Rolex is the only watch to show this behavior with flipping it and buying it for investment. No, people have done it with Pateks and other watches and tried to do it, and people get deals on some of those other watches, and there are people that all they do is deal in watches, and they do okay. They're dealers. But it's like anything else. It's like dealing in cars. It's not that easy, and it's work, and you have to have capital to do it. You're taking a risk. But just about any of these people that are buying these watches and holding them, putting them in a safety deposit box, I think they're going to get burned, and I mean burned with a capital B. Just get a Datejust and a snowflake and call it all good. Here's the problem, William. If you get a GS, let's do a time check. Either a snowflake or something else, if it's a spring drive or if it's a 9F quartz, you're going to be so spoiled by the accuracy, you're not going to want a Rolex again, ever again. I'm like that way. I don't want one on my wrist, period. They're just not accurate enough. I've moved on. I'm like, no, sorry. I mean, and look at that second hand. I mean, are you freaking kidding me? Look at the second hand on the spring drive. I mean, if that isn't sexy, I don't know what the hell is. I mean, and you got something that's rugged, that won't have to be serviced for a gazillion years, that will just run and will just be hyperactive, accurate. I mean, what's not to like there? So no, the Rolex is just passé as far as I'm concerned. The only people that would buy a Rolex in this day and age, in my opinion, are people that have not fully researched the Grand Seiko and are not familiar with what's going on with them and have not seen and handled them. They just don't know. Okay. I purchased a mining machine. Okay. Well, I hope that works out. Have you seen Patek's list price increase? It's insane. Nautilus went from 20K to 40K. Yeah, it's insane that people are buying steel Nautilus. First of all, the Nautilus is ugly in the first place. In the second place, it's ugly. And in the third place, it's ugly. So other than that, it's a great watch to buy. A while back, but no profit. Okay. It's sad buying a watch and keeping it in a safe. I think it is. I think it's ridiculous. They're acting like these things are like works of art or something. There's something to be used and enjoyed, for gosh sakes. Okay, if you think that, then I guess Panerai is the watch for you. Congratulations. Panerai. Yeah, pass on the Panerai, whoever's thinking about that. That's. Of course, you can get a good buy on them right now. They're soft because people are starting to wake up to the fact that they're ugly. When Mom passes away, her Social Security check in the basement goes away, the watch is ending up in the pawn shop. Oh boy, that's an interesting point. Maybe they won't tell anybody that Mom passed away and they'll just keep cashing the checks. To think about that? They're a for real troll. That's probably what they'll do. I always wear what I like. Absolutely. Oh, and that's another thing. Come on, Craig. Another thing. This is funny. This guy makes a comment about our discussion about 36 millimeter date justs. That's too small. That's passé. That's not the current thing. Is bigger watches. You know, the trend is bigger watches. And I'm like, have you seen how I dress? Does it look like I give a rat's rear end about trends? Yeah, the stuff I buy is like timeless. I mean, you can wear it today. I can wear it 10 years from now. I could wear it 10 years ago. It doesn't make any freaking difference. There is no timing on any of the stuff that I buy and use. I buy stuff that's timeless, classic, ready to go. And I'm not going to buy something trendy. That's wasteful. That wastes my money. Let's say I bought a sport coat that's in vogue this season, the newest freaking style, right? 2 seasons from now, it's scrap, right? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to buy something that is a classic style and design and that I can wear forever. So it wears out. If you buy really good stuff, it doesn't even wear out that quick. Some of my Harris tweed jackets I've had like 40 years, and one of them I had to have leather patches put here, right? Because it started to get a hole here, but I just had the leather patches put on it. It's good to go for another 20, 30 years. Tom Jones, I almost bought a Steinhardt. It was like $500 in the used market. Had Swiss Etta, not sure which one. 20. Yeah, some of those Steinhardts are nice watches. I had one. I did a review on one on the channel. I got a bunch of watch reviews if you want to take a look on some more affordable watches here on the channel. I went through that phase where I checked out a bunch of those. I pretty much all steel sports, and I wear them. They're not in the bank. Okay. I like my G-Shock because I can use it and have zero cares what happens. I had a G-Shock for a while. It finally, the plastic and all finally just like fell apart. It just totally fell apart. I think it was 25 years old by then. It just went, yeah, just totally disintegrated. But it was a cool watch. It might still be laying around here, the guts of it somewhere. Really get surprised when I hear people thinking that Rolex is a bubble and is going to burst. Some guys think the Earth is flat. Yeah, it's going to burst. It is a bubble and it's going to burst. So there's the deal on that. You can take that to the bank, put it in your safety deposit box. Steinhardt rocks, yeah. Thanks, Scott. I own a GMT Steinhardt 39. It's great. Absolutely. Like I say, I had one. There's a review on my channel. Panerai is just big and ostentatious. Makes no sense. Yeah, I would buy a Rolex before I would buy that, but before I would buy either, I would probably just buy a Grand Seiko and be done with it. That's all. That's a lifetime watch. That's all. This watch here, I'm going to be able to wear the rest of my freaking life and enjoy it and have no problem and have super accurate timekeeping. And I guarantee you, I will never have to have it serviced. Ever. Period. Full stop. Done. There are still G-Shocks now. Yes. No one needs an accuracy of 1 second. Yeah, absolutely, we need that accuracy. I love that accuracy. And people that say that the accuracy is not important are people that haven't had a watch that's super accurate like this. It's so convenient to not have to unscrew this crown and screw around with the time and synchronize the minute hand with the seconds so that it's right in sync. You know, that's all a pain in the neck to do. I don't want to have to do that often with a watch that's inaccurate. I'd rather just have to do it. Like, for example, this one, the only time I have to unscrew the crown is when the month has less than 31 days. Because this one's accurate to within like a second a month, and even better than that. I've had it for 6 months or something. It's like within a second still. It's insane how accurate it is. So the only time I have to unscrew this crown is if the month has less than 31 days. And maybe I won't even care because I don't really use this to get the date. Maybe I won't even unscrew it then. Meanwhile, other people have to mess with their watch all the time because it's not accurate. What a crock that is. No, Craig, I'm sorry. It's not going to burst. Yes, it will. Well, we'll see. Write it down, everybody. Hey, this video will be online. My prediction versus Pedro. Let's see who's right. SARB017 is stunning. There you go. Because it is not a bubble. And maybe he's being funny. Maybe it's semantics. Okay, the price will crash. Let's put it that way. Do you wear your data? No, not anymore. I'm wearing just the GS's right now. And if I do need a dress watch, I'm using this one here. Because it's always ready to go. It doesn't have to be wound up. I don't have to set the date. I don't have to monkey around with it. It's just ready to freaking go. The problem with using the day date is I got to take it out. I got to set the time. I got to wind it up. I got to do all that. And then I wear it for like a day or something. And then I put it back down. And then I got to repeat the process next time I want to freaking use it. That's why I got the 9F quartz for my dress watch, because I don't wear them that often. And that way it's always ready to go at a moment's notice. There you go. Do you see you, Craig, when you look at your GS, do you see yourself when you look at your GS? Oh, if I look on the side, it's like a mirror. Absolutely, you can see yourself. Yeah. Craig, you're going to have huge remorse because the only Grand Seiko you should own, Snowflake, and it's the one and done watch. You don't need to be viewing time with all the lights off. We'll see. I mean, again, it probably, my guess is it won't sell. There's a number of other ones for sale. we'll see. I just don't like to have a watch that I really don't need, and the only reason I wear it now is to keep it running. Really, I would rather be wearing this watch most of the time. And since for dress purposes, I've got the gold one, that was what I was really using the snowflake for, was when I was wearing a shirt cuff, I needed something that would go under the shirt cuff, and the snowflake would do that. But now that I have the gold dress watch, it becomes redundant. It really does. Accuracy is my favorite watch attribute, outside of it being mechanical. Yeah, I thought I would never be into the quartz, but man, this 9F is freaking unbelievable. Jesus, you research that puppy? It's going to run for like... Okay. I had to restart the Video Pro, and maybe we're live again. Let's see what happens. Yeah, okay, I guess we are. Well, that's a first. It looks like it's happening. Oh, okay, so I don't know what happened there, folks. I had to go through and actually reboot the streaming box. Let me know in the chat what the quality of the stream looks like now. We're back online, I guess. But somebody let me know if everything looks okay at this point. And then I'm going to go through the comments here. How to watch. Okay, class was a bit... Okay, all right. So let me go here. Okay. So you're telling a guy who is actually telling the truth about, they say, GS to get real in a channel where they promote GS over Rolex. Get out of here, man. Okay. So Rolex, Rolex, Mafia in action. Yeah, maybe Rolex was jamming this whole thing. I want to see a crash. Okay, so have guy listen to the new Muse album. Okay, give me a minute. Okay, so what are you, his wingman, and sincere for wearing a quartz watch? That class, blah, blah, big bouncy boot. Okay. I'll fill in for Craig while he's down. Grand Seiko is freaking awesome. Okay, Randy, you're kicking it, man. Randy's all that. You want a freaking wrench, Randy? I don't know how to do that. Anyway, Tom Jones, gotta go watch Penguins whoop some ass. Okay, there we go. And later, girls. Absolutely, girls. I guarantee it was a phone call. No, it wasn't. The streaming box just screwed up, and that does not happen often with this Video Pro. It's usually pretty rock solid. Pedro owns Jewelers on Time. It's his passion. Okay. Horrible tick. That GS. Oh man, the tick on the 9F is freaking sexy. Let's look at that. Look, it just goes from one to the other. There's no like vacillation back and forth. It just bam, 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 bam. I don't know what's sexier, that. And by the way, it's right on the markers. It's just the angle of the camera that sometimes it looks like it's not. But like right now, you can see where it's getting right in sync because the angle is right on the camera. But and if you look straight on, they're right on each hash mark. So then you got that, and then you got look at the spring drive. I mean, you tell me that's not the freaking sexiest, coolest freaking thing you've ever seen on the face of this bloody earth. Look at that second hand on that spring drive. So it's hard to say which is sexier. They're both pretty damn hot. Okay. I repeat, insincere, what a douche. I don't know what that's all about. Okay. Is that one of our trolls? I love my trolls. So one of them unsubscribed the other day. He said he was going to unsubscribe. I was heartbroken. What was sad about cash deal for Rolex? I got sad about cash deal. we were talking about how you can get a good deal on watches if you use cash, and we were debating that because I had a troll that said that no way, that nobody cares, that we're in like 2018 and nobody cares whether you pay cash or not. It's not going to affect the deal you get. And I said no, that it would affect the deal you would get. Okay. Okay, so let's see here. I'd rather wear a fake Tudor than an original Grand Seiko. Yeah, I would pass on a Tudor altogether. Fake or real, it's just a marginal watch. I mean, we never considered Tudor back in the day. We only bought Rolex. We wouldn't even think about a freaking Tudor. I can't imagine why people are so enamored with Tudors these days. I mean, my gosh, are you kidding me? Buy a decent Seiko and before you buy a Tudor, for gosh sakes. How many Richard Milles do you have in your collection? I don't have a collection. Yeah, I don't collect. I just buy things that I use. And by the way, that's the other thing. My camera gear is the same way. If I do reviews on my lenses or whatever it is that I use, I talk about what I use and what I enjoy and what I appreciate. And I don't do negative reviews. So, for example, if somebody sends me something to review and I don't like it and I don't think it's a decent value for what it is and for the price and so on, I just don't do a review, period. And they know that up front. I tell them up front, if you send me something to review and I don't like it, I'm not putting it on my channel. I don't put junk on my channel. Now, if somebody's sending me an inexpensive watch now as we speak, it's only like a $50 watch or something, made in China or whatever. They're sending it to me for me to review. And I'm going to look at the watch, and if I think it's a total piece of crap, I won't review it. You won't see a video on this channel. But if I think for $50, it's a good buy, that you're getting your money's worth for $50, and I'm impressed with it, because everybody doesn't want to spend thousands of dollars on a watch. Some people want a cheap watch, let's face it. So they have their place, right? So if I like it, I'll do a review on it, and you'll see the review on this channel. That's the way I am with any of my stuff. If I'm talking about it, if I'm talking about Grand Seikos, it's because I like them, and I use them, and I'm wearing them, period. So there's that. Okay. You think about the Seiko Sarbo 17. I just ordered one, hasn't arrived yet. Let me pull it up. Let me pull up that one. Give me a second here. Old people are slow on this kind of stuff. Let me find this puppy. We'll take a look together on this thing. Images. Let's see here. Oh, wow. Okay. If this is the one, does it have a steel bracelet or a leather strap? Let me switch to the chat real quick because I want to see what it is. Put in the chat that SARB 017. Do you have one on a leather or bracelet? And then I'll take a look. I don't like the link design. Pretty sure he knows. I like the snowflake. So like, oh, the snowflake is super comfortable on wrist. It just disappears on the wrist. It's insane how comfortable it is on the wrist. It's not just the weight either. It's just the way the bracelet's designed, the way the edges are all finished, smooth. I mean, it is freaking, or new strap. Order a new strap. Strap it comes with is really bad. Okay, so it's the one with the leather strap. Okay. So anyway, I'll show you right now. Here's some pictures. Yeah. I think that's a really cool watch. Let me click on this one, and I don't know if that's the one you got, but absolutely. Yeah. I don't think you can go wrong there. Okay, so I like the Black Bay 58, and that's it. Yeah, I'd skip the Black Bay altogether. Skip any tutors. Just don't even pass go. Don't waste your money. It's way too much money for just a run-of-the-mill average watch. Has really good metal bracelets to buy from Strapcode. Yeah, Strapcode, I hear, makes some really good stuff for good prices. Richard Mille, I have heard of that brand. I could care less. Craig is right on most of these super watches are ugly. Yeah. Yeah, they are. And some people are going to be stuck with them. When you have a chance, try a Black Bay 58 on a normal or metal. Spend the whole day with him. Take it for a spin. You'll see. Yeah, pass on all the tutors. Don't even pass go. There's no reason to buy one. Just skip it. Take the money and buy an older Rolex. Buy a 36 mil date just and have a freaking Rolex on your wrist, for God's sakes. Skip the tutor. Can you also take a look at the 033? Yeah, I'll take a look at that. And then I'm going to go here pretty soon, but is it the black dial one? 23 jewels. Oh, come on with the damn ads. So, if it's that watch we're talking about, yeah. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm the only one with the balls to say I love them. I love Richard Mille. Pass on the Richard Mille. I mean, there's no reason to buy that. Buy a damn Rolex, for God's sakes. Jesus. What's with these off brands? I mean, buy a freaking Rolex or a Grand Seiko. Don't buy any of these off brand. And I like it. I love it when these people say I'm buying some micro brands. Are you freaking kidding me? Oh my God. Take a break. Take a break. I'll never buy one though. Okay. 36 millimeter digest. Absolutely. Can't afford it. Okay. Glorified and overpriced G-Shocks. Your opinion on the Cellini line. Some of the Cellinis look okay, but I would probably skip it. If I was going to buy a Rolex, I'd want something with a screw-down crown, and some of those do, some of them don't. It's just it's almost like another off-brand, like a Tudor almost. I just wouldn't mess with it. Get a freaking Rolex. A date just for an affordable watch, you can buy them in the $2,000 price range in pretty decent shape. $2,000, $2,500. I think that's a heck of a watch that you can wear the rest of your life and then just save up your money and buy a house or buy stocks or whatever, have a real nice watch on your wrist and call it a freaking day. Don't mess with these, as what's his name would say, these shitters. Oh my God. The Day-Date 36 is the best looking roll. It's awesome. It is absolutely freaking, and talk about something that has stood the test of time, that is not trendy. I mean, it's been gorgeous since 1956 or whenever the hell it came out. It's been gorgeous the whole freaking time. Always gorgeous. Aquaterra. Yeah, but I wouldn't buy a Omega either. Again, for the same kind of money, I think you could buy a 36 mil date just. I better stop talking about the 36 mil date just because they're going to all sell out everywhere. Because they're fantastic freaking. Well, that was my first Rolex. I think 1978. All right. List price was $580. I got a discount on it. The Earth is flat. Absolutely, the Earth is flat. There you go. What do you think about diamond bands or bezel on a roll? No diamonds. Skip the diamonds. Talking about $200,000 Audemars. Yeah, I'd skip that. Recommendation for a Swiss diver under 5K. Swiss. Well, you could certainly buy an Omega for that all day long. I'd get a really good buy on it because they don't hold their value that well. I mean, just get a good buy on it. Why do you want a diver? I have a diver because my eyes aren't that great anymore. I'm 60 going on 61 years old. If you've got that excuse, then buy a diver. But if you've got good eyes, buy the freaking 36 mil Datejust and be done with it. I don't like diamonds on watch. You don't need a diver's watch, probably. That's the point I'm trying to make here. I need it because of the legibility situation. Getting drunk in your mom's basement. A two-tone bluesy. Absolutely a two-tone bluesy. That kicks butt. Okay. Oris. Yeah, you could buy an Oris. Absolutely. Steve will give you a deal on one. He's a dealer on new Orises. He'll give you a deal on one. Well, I have a 1 million plus watch per year brand. I control the horizontal Rolex. Why not Seiko diver like the Marine Master? Well, he says he wanted Swiss. So that's the deal on that. Obviously, the Seiko would be a better watch than buying a Swiss diver for $5,000. You'd get much more watch for the money. My gosh, for $5,000, he could buy a Grand Seiko. Stainless steel diver all day long. He could buy one probably for $4,500, maybe even $4,000. If he's dealing with cash. Got drunk many times, and your mom's with MM300 is a great diver for 2K. Yeah, hell yeah, you could wear that sucker for the rest of your life. You could beat the hell out of it, and it wouldn't bother it one bit. Kind of thick, though. Yeah, and the accuracy is another issue. That's why I sold my SBDC 007, my Shogun. That was a hell of a watch, the Shogun. Titanium. Really held up great. I wore it for 2 years. I have several reviews here on the channel. SBDC 007 Shogun. Hell of a watch. What do you think of the Yacht Master? I would pass on it. If I was going to buy a modern Rolex, I would buy a Datejust, of course. I would buy a Milgauss. I would buy a Air King. I like the new Air King. I would buy an Oyster Perpetual without the date. I think that's a fantastic watch. Even I think they have a 34 mil one. I'd even buy that. Tell you the truth, don't be offensive. Hey, I call it like it is. If that's offensive to people, they shouldn't be here at my channel because I call it the way I see it. And these trolls that don't like the truth, that can't handle the truth, they should move on to one of the warm and fuzzy channels that tell you what you want to hear all the time. There's a bunch of them. Trophy gold digger with a GS, or is Rolex still the king? Let's do a time check. Time check. We got a spring drive on the left, and we've got a 9F quartz on the right. The best quartz movement ever construed by man, and solid 18 karat gold on an alligator bracelet with a solid 18 karat gold clasp. That's what we got going on. 34 millimeter Oyster Perpetual is dope. Yeah, it's hot, man. I love that watch. This craze to buy all these huge watches is just that. It's a craze. I mean, we don't need huge watches on our wrists. I mean, what the hell's wrong with people? Here I am with a 44 millimeter diver on my wrist. Oh, jeez. Yeah. How about Explorer 1? Absolutely an Explorer 1. Absolutely. I love that watch. I'm loving the white dial Oyster Perpetual 36. I have wrist under 6 inches. So absolutely, Brian. That would be a watch for the rest of your life. I know it's not popular to be saying buy a watch and just keep it for the rest of your life. Everybody wants to flip and all this stuff, but I'm telling you, if you get the right watch and really get comfortable with it, there's nothing like just wearing it for many, many years. It's the way to go, man. It's just like getting a good woman and keeping her for many, many years and then trade her in later. Anyway, 36 mil Explorer, better than 39. I like the 36 mil, absolutely. And you can get them for a better deal. Great watch for all around, nice to dress up, dress down. 39 millimeter Explorer is awesome. If you got really big wrists, otherwise I'd go with the 36. I got a 7.25 inch wrist. In the summertime, a little bigger than that. Smaller, it gets about 7.25. And, you know, this watch, because of the lugs, the way they curve down and all the design of it, you can get away with wearing a bigger watch because of the design of it. Same thing with the Snowflake. You can get away with it. But I would still rather, if I only had one watch to wear all the time, I'd rather have a smaller watch. Now, if I'm in a 2-watch rotation, I have no problem having a big sport watch like this and then something smaller to wear when I need to. But if you're going to go with a 1-watch rotation, only have one high-dollar watch, I think a 36 mil is the sweet spot. You cannot beat that. A 36 mil of any of these ones we're talking about, the Oyster Perpetual, the Datejust, the Explorer 1, any of those are just a great all-around, wear anytime watch. And these guys that say they don't want to wear it in the in the shower because the soaps will ruin the seals and all this crap. I've never had any problem with seals being ruined in my watches. Are you freaking kidding me? These watches are built like freaking tanks, okay? If you want to shower with it, shower with it. I don't. I take mine off because I don't want to get the soap scum on it. But you're not going to hurt these watches. I can tell you this. They are built like freaking tanks. Oyster Perpetual 36 isn't in Super Vogue right now. That's right. So you get a deal on it. I find the smaller conservative watches are satisfying, slow release. Yeah, man, you just wear that thing and just enjoy it. Submariner on the train and see 4 guys in the same carriage wearing my watch. Yeah, well, see, I could care what other people are wearing, but I just think that for normal use, normal dress situations, a 36 mil is a great all-around piece. I know you are saying, okay, I'm trying to catch up with the chat so that I can go offline here. I'm sold big time on the smooth bezel 36 mil Datejust or the Oyster Perpetual 36. Yeah, I would almost rather have the Oyster Perpetual. I don't really want the date anymore, and I've gotten so that Cyclops is kind of like I don't really need that type of deal. So I would almost go with the no date Oyster Perpetual. I mean, you can get a real deal on those. About $2,400 more because it's regulated. Seems very overpriced. More decorated and the polishing is better, but okay, I don't know what he's talking about. Soap heap seals. Yeah, people say that. I think that's a bunch of baloney. The seals are very robust in these watches, and they hold up great. I don't think you have to worry about it. I don't shower with mine, but I don't think you have to worry about half of the things that people talk about that you have to worry about with these watches. They're very rugged. They hold up really well. Trust me, I never babied my sport watches. And I did wash cars with them, and I put my hand in the soapy water and stuff like that. I did that all the time. I didn't shower with them, but they did get around soap. And I'm talking GMT Master IIs, Submariners, including a red sub. I just used them. I just used the heck out of the watches, and I never had problems with them. You also get the build quality upgrade. Say tutors are, yeah, skip the tutors completely. Don't even bother with it. Yeah, get the Hamilton khaki. Get something affordable. Don't spend too much money on something that is like a no-name watch. Save up your money and get yourself a Datejust. Get a real watch. But in the meantime, yeah, buy like $100 watch and just wear it and enjoy it. I'd probably buy a $100 Seiko though. That Longines. I don't need to Google search that. Yes, it's beautiful. Okay. Those there overpriced. 38 millimeter snowflake would fly off the shelves. It probably would. And maybe they're going to come out. The rumor is they're going to come out with some smaller watches here pretty soon. Think about Breitling Super Ocean Heritage 2. I would skip Breitling altogether. Okay, so that's going to wrap for me. I guess you all can stay and hang out in the chat. I don't know how all this works. 36 mil snowflake. I'm first in line. Hell yeah. Yeah. I'll tell you what I would like before I wrap here. I would like a snowflake with loomed hands and indices. Sort of like what some of the Date-8s have, right? That way I could read it all the time. And that would be cool. Absolutely. But I don't like the fact that it has no loom for a wear all the time watch. Now, for wear occasionally, or not all the time, like I've got the diver, right? So I can rotate. That's okay. But if I was going to have one watch and it was going to be a snowflake, I'd be bummed that it doesn't have loom. Thanks, Craig. Oh, you're welcome. I get what you're saying. I would definitely believe it's better made. Spend so much more on a tutor. Yeah, skip the tutor. All right, everybody. Thanks for watching. And the trolls, I love you. I mean, you're wrong. You should bathe a little more often, probably. A little bit of personal hygiene wouldn't hurt. And maybe read a book or two. But it is what it is. So hang out in the basement. And we'll do another one of these here sometime soon. I am going to do a live stream tomorrow afternoon, but it's not going to all be watch related. We're going to talk a little bit of watch stuff, but I'm going to have Kent here. He's going to be entertaining and talking about music history and some other stuff. He's a music historian. And so we're going to do a live stream, and that's going to be fun. Hopefully it'll work. So everybody, thanks again, and hit that like button, subscribe, hit the little bell. And go ahead and put some comments on some of my other videos too, to make my paying clients happy, right? So that I can keep doing this kind of stuff. Tell them it's really cool, the video that I did for them or something, right? Like I did one for MMI for an event they sponsored at Hood College. I just put the video up yesterday. Put something in there. Oh, it's so cool that MMI sponsors this kind of event. It's really giving back to the community. Just some kind of warm and fuzzy comment about the video. That'll make them happy, and they'll give me more money so that then I can buy more watches. What do you think? And if I get enough watches and I get enough money, I might be able to start giving away some watches on the channel. What do you guys think about that? So definitely comment on my other videos. You can tell which ones I'm doing for clients, right? Because they're usually about companies or for companies, or about, like in this case, it was an event that the company sponsored. Those are all paid gigs, paid videos, right? So if you comment in there, hey, this is really cool, or whatever, blah, 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 that'll get back to them. They'll hire me to do more stuff. I'll have more money so I can buy more watches. So maybe I'll end up with some surplus watches. So that's how that all works. Hood College in Frederick. Absolutely. The video's up here on my channel. I really liked your Audrey Dance watch talk. Would definitely like to see that again. If Audrey gets her act together, we're going to have her on some shows, but she's, having some issues. So God bless her. I hope she gets everything together. because I'd love to have her back on some shows, and I'd love to help her with her channel some more. We got her up to like more than 30,000 subscribers as well on her channel, but she's just doing nothing with it, and it's a shame. But hopefully, keep my fingers crossed that she gets her act together and we can start creating some more content, because she's really a talented young lady. She really is. So, but Sarah, I'm working with on Cowgirls Live. She's got her own brand. It's at Cowgirls Live on Instagram, and I just put up a video that she did. The audio was a little bit hot on it. She has the little Shure MVI mixer that plugs into her iPhone for her to get audio in, and she had it set a little bit high, so the audio was a little bit hot. But she's learning, and so hopefully she's going to start making some content, and she's a nice young lady. So hopefully her stuff will start taking off. So follow her. She's at Cowgirls Live on Instagram, on Facebook. She's got the Facebook, also facebook.com/Cowgirls Live. She's got the Twitter account at Cowgirls Live. That's Cowgirls with an S, Cowgirls Live. So follow Sarah also, and let's give her some encouragement to do some stuff. She's a beautiful young lady and very nice, has a great personality, so we want to help her out when we can. So everybody, thanks again for watching. I've lived in Maryland since I was 12 years old, now in the 50s. Where in Maryland? Wouldn't be responsible, but I another watch in the near future, but enjoy the Breitlings while you still have it. One more time check here. Oh, Gaithersburg. Good, Scott. You're right down the road. I'm here in Thurmont, Maryland. So there you go. I was born in Bethesda, and I moved up here to Frederick County in 1999. So there's that. All right, we're going to stop the broadcast, everybody. Thank you for watching.